It's episode 262.
Well, good morning. It's another Sunday. Look at you still dancing and partying.
I was trying to get my shirt
I thought you were dancing because you were, killing it last night. Killing me last night.
Hey, I helped you out a little bit.
A little bit. Good afternoon or good morning. Somewhere it's afternoon. Like I said, today's Sunday. And yes, you have tuned in to the number one 9 o'clock-ish broadcasted podcast in, I'd say, the world.
That's right.
Yeah. Sports Talk 916. I'm Coach Greg. That's Mr. Chief, Greg Bowl. And together we're the two-headed monsters of Greg that we call Sports Talk 916. And this is episode 262. And I remembered that all on my own today.
Right.
You didn't have to remind me. Got one question to ask for you.
Me?
Anybody.
Okay, well, hold on first. Good morning, Mark. We'll get to the Kings game here in a minute. And What's up, James?
So when you drop an ice cube, do you pick it up or do you kick it under the fridge?
Always into the fridge.
Always under the fridge. Let us know. Are you an ice cube kicker or an ice cube picker-upper? So anyway, nothing to talk about. No 49er news. No Kings news. Thanks for tuning in. It was a great day.
Right. There we go.
Rueben Foster got himself into a little bit of a jam.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Kings had a tough lesson on how to box out and how to get a rebound and how to get a ball stuck on the rim with no time left. And, so those are two good starting points. What do you got? How was your week?
Week was good. I put the live poll on the broadcast there. If you kick it and drop an ice cube, do you kick it into the fridge or do you pick it up? Good week. Lots going on. Kind of busy, but we're on officially on baby watch.
Nice.
And I know I said that last week too, but we are officially on baby watch. And things are going good.
I don't know who. Last night we we ran into each other at a local establishment last night.
I knocked him down.
Who you told somebody that your wife was having some other man's baby, and the look on her face was just
the car dealer.
Oh, it was a car dealer, yeah. And she the look on her face was like, holy shit, what's going on?
Yeah. So Greg's playing and he said something. All right, I said, instead of betting big, why don't you just give me the money you're about to lose and I'll just walk away with it. And he laughed and I said, come on, man, my wife's having another man's baby. I need the money. And the bartender or the dealer was like, what the fuck?
It was funny.
Like, it was fantastic. But anyways, lots to talk about.
Big move today, by the way.
For you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna help?
We'll see. I don't know yet. It depends.
Depends on if you have the baby or not.
If this headache that I have goes away or not. But yeah, so lots of sports stuff. We'll get to the Kings in a little bit. We'll get to the 49ers and the Rueben Foster thing. More NFL coverage. The UFC had a little match last night. Liddell and Tito Ortiz.
I didn't even hear about it.
Or maybe it was 2 nights ago. Tito Ortiz knocked Liddell out in the first round.
Do you think UFC? We talked about this before. I think the UFC has dropped off. A match like that everybody would have known about it a year ago. No, nobody. I didn't even hear that it was going on.
Yeah, but now that I don't know. I think it is kind of fading a little bit, but
that's the reason
it's coming back.
That's the reason it's dropping.
It might be.
I think because they're getting too gimmicky. I mean, they're not quite WWE type stuff, but they're getting gimmicky. I mean, with Conor McGregor thing and with Brock Lesnar, they keep trying. They keep marching Lesnar out. And this is his third time coming back?
Second time coming back.
Why are they, they keep relying on those gimmicks and instead of developing new fighters.
Exactly. It's pretty sad if you ask me.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is. Okay, so we'll get to all of that. We're going to start off with a little bit of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame inductees or candidates were released this last week. And I just want to do a quick run through to see if there's anyone that you feel is a lock.
Okay.
So we'll start with the returners. Returning to the ballot in his 10th freaking year. I can't believe this is even a thing. Edgar Martinez is in his 10th year. He got 70.4% of the vote last year.
He should get in. I mean, I know James is huge on him making it to the Hall of Fame.
What do you need for a vote to get in?
75.
75. So he's almost there.
Yeah.
I
think he gets in this time. I think the class is pretty small. So
it is pretty small. There it is. 75% of all the ballots. Okay. Just going down the list. This list is in order of the highest percentages. Next was Mike Mussina. He's in his 6th year at 63.5. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
He's Hall of Very Good.
Right. Roger Clemens, 57% last year. He's in his 7th year.
I think it's ridiculous he's not in. I really do.
I think this one is more ridiculous. Barry Bonds, he got 56% of the vote last year.
Yeah, he should be in.
So there's a fun stat that we found about Barry Bonds. And if Bonds were to go back into Major League Baseball and he went hitless in 600 consecutive at-bats. It's a lot of bats.
That's
like what, 3 seasons?
No,
no,
almost
2 seasons?
Full season.
Almost full season. Okay, so if he went hitless the whole season, he would still have a better OPS than anyone on the ballot in 2019. Is that not fucking ridiculous?
Yeah, and back in the day that the discussion was going around a lot, and I'm sure if we were on the air, we would have talked about it a lot. It was a level playing field.
Well, we have talked about that a lot.
Yeah, we have actually. It's a level playing field. Everybody was on steroids. So, you put a little asterisk at the bottom of his plaque that, he was accused of using steroids, never proven. And get him in the Hall of Fame. He deserves to be. James
says we're wrong. Bullshit. Moose 270 wins in the AL East. Great ERA. Mike, you see that?
Nah.
You said he's in the Hall of Good. I'll put him in the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, that's what I said. A Hall of Very Good.
Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds. Kurt Schilling, 51% in the 6th year.
I think he should be in. I don't think he's going to get in because he's of his mouth.
Yeah, he's burned a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
Omar Vizquel, 37% last year, 2nd year.
No.
Larry Walker, 9th year.
My close personal friend, Larry Walker.
The Crime Dog, Fred McGriff.
No.
He's in his 10th. And then it just goes down from there. No one else. And Sammy Sosa, who's never going to get in. He only got 7% of the vote last year. New to the ballot this year. Newcomers. We'll start with ones that people don't really give a shit about, and then we'll get to the big names. Rick Ankiel, Jason Bay.
I really liked Rick Ankiel. I thought he had a great story.
Yeah, but he's a Hall of Gooder, not even
he's Hall of all right.
Keep messing up my damn headphones. Lance Berkman, Freddie Garcia, John Garland, Travis Hafner, Ted Lilly, Derek Lowe, Darren Oliver, Roy Oswalt, Juan Pierre, Placido Polanco, Miguel Tejada, Vernon Wells, Kevin Youkilis, who I went and had drinks at his bar down in Los Gatos, and Michael Young are newcomers. The ones that actually matter, though, Roy Halladay, rest in peace.
Yeah.
He'll get in eventually. I don't think he'll get in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th year. I think he has a little bit of a long ways to go.
Do you think him getting killed helped his? This sounds morbid as hell.
No, I don't think so. I think he had a strong enough run that he can get in, but it won't be like a first ballot.
No.
Todd Helton.
No.
Andy Pettitte.
I don't think he gets in right away, but I think him pitching in New York for as long as he did is going to help him.
And I think the only one that's a guaranteed lock of all those guys I just mentioned as a first ballot Hall of Famer is the last guy on the list, Mariano Rivera.
So if Mariano Rivera doesn't go in as a unanimous first ballot player, which for some reason the idiots that vote think that that's just not possible, some asshole will leave him off the ballot. If he doesn't go in unanimous, who is?
Right. Exactly. Like at that point.
Yeah.
Major League, I almost feel like they have too many people on their ballots. It kind of convolutes everything. You know what I mean? As far as 'cause I think they're only allowed to vote so many people. And I don't know. We read off so many names there that have no shot.
Yeah, but there's certain criteria that they have to. It's not like they just go, okay, we're going to put him on the ballot.
Well, I know.
There's criteria. You have to be in the, I think it's 10 years.
And then 10 years removed or 5 years removed.
5 years removed, yeah. There's a certain number of years you have to play. These guys just played that amount of time, but you have to have 5% of the ballot to stay on it for the next year. So half of these guys are going to drop off because they're not going to get any votes. Right.
So I mean, one of the other ones on the list was Jeff Kent. He's at 7% or 8% of the vote. He'll never be a Hall of Famer.
No.
Other news: baseball's winter meetings are getting close. The hot stove is starting to heat up. There's a lot of talk still around Bryce Harper. Apparently, the Giants, the Cardinals, and now the Cubs, and now the Braves are in on the mix as well. I didn't hear
the Braves. I heard the Cubs.
So that list is forever growing. I think if the Giants aren't going to make a huge run at them, I think it would be very advantageous to them to keep an eye on who is and see if there's any big name player. We talked about it last week with a Jason Hayward who may become available because the Cubs or whoever it is wants to make a large run at somebody. Definitely getting to the exciting time of the year for offseason for baseball.
Yeah.
The A's should have some sort of an announcement coming up. I'm pretty sure about a new stadium. They've been promising it before the end of the year. So that could be good for A's fans. Hopefully they have something, to kind of build off of the momentum that they had last season with all of the awards and whatnots there.
I wonder if they're actually going to have an announcement. I wonder if they're just kind of going to push it off like always seems to happen.
They could. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, that's for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for baseball. I just wanted to talk about that. The Hall of Fame. So, real quick here, let's gonna do this here. So Greg's in a protest if there's not a unanimous for Mariano Rivera, which is interesting.
Why?
No, I'm just saying you'll protest.
I just think it's stupid. I mean, I think there's guys that are just complete no-brainers, and if you're not voting for them, then you're an idiot. Now, the next one the one thing I think that's going to happen though is I think that if they don't vote in Mariano unanimous, then when Jeter comes up,
oh Jesus!
It'll be a shoo-in. I mean, you can't. I don't think he's as dominant a player as Rivera was, but he is the poster boy for baseball, and has been since he started. So, and he's got that New York bias. I think that's a lock that he's unanimous. And if not, I give up.
I agree. We're gonna switch over to football. We're going to talk about the NFL Hall of Fame nominations before we get to 49er and Raider news. But first, we're going to hear from Tony Pacheco, or about Tony Pacheco.
That's a good thing you did the other day.
Huh?
So that was a good live thing you did the other day.
Yeah. And also, if you want more information, it is Black Friday weekend. Tony is still slinging deals out there at Folsom Lake Ford and Kia. Huge rebates, huge trade-in offers. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see the video that Tony and I did earlier in this week to explain some of those deals. Let him know that you sent us out there, or we sent you guys out there. He will hook it up. Lots going on out there. Lots of rebates on trucks, on cars, on Kias, on Fords, on purchases and leases. There's first responder. There's active duty military. There's retirees. And there are student discounts. So jump out there and take a look at what's going on.
He was on fire this week, too.
Yeah. Doing a really good job.
Go check out our buddy.
Volume allows for more deals. So
right.
Let's talk football real quick. NFL Hall of Fame inductees. Nominees were also released. This is the semifinalists. We'll just run through this list a little bit quick. And let me know what you think. Steve Atwater.
No.
Champ Bailey.
He's a maybe.
This is his first time.
He'll make it. He'll make it eventually. I don't know if he makes it this time, but yeah.
Rondé Barber.
No.
Tony Baselli.
Oh, yes.
He's on his 4th year.
Is he really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Isaac Bruce.
Very good.
5th year. Leroy Butler.
No.
Can't see that happening. Don Croyle, coach.
Don Coryell?
Coryell, yeah, sorry.
So he should be in. He's
11th year.
Bill Walsh worked under him, and that's how he developed the West Coast offense. Is taking Don Coryell, Eric Coryell's offense, and putting it into the West Coast offense. So he should be.
Alan Faneca.
Yeah.
4th year. Tom Flores.
Yes.
1st year.
Without a doubt, he should be in. He was won the Super Bowl twice. Won it as a player. First Mexican American coach. Without a doubt, he should be in there. Actually, he didn't win the Super Bowl twice. He was a Super Bowl winning coach.
This is the first one I think that should be 100% unanimous as a player that we mentioned. Tony Gonzalez. First year on the ballot.
Yeah.
He should be in.
That's a no-brainer.
Torrey Holt.
No.
Steve Hutchinson.
He's badass.
Yeah.
He was badass center. Yeah, I think he should be in.
And Adrian James.
Not first ballot, but he'll make it.
Jimmy Johnson.
Yes.
This is 6th year on the ballot.
Wow.
Ty Law.
No.
John Lynch.
Not as a general manager.
Not yet.
I don't know. He's a coin flip for me. Flores 100%, TJ.
David Smith says, I'm having a blast with you guys in the Sports Talk 916 number 3 fantasy league. Thanks for creating it and letting us join in and play with you guys. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure you're one of the guys that are kicking my ass. Clay Matthews. This has got to be Clay Matthews Sr.
That's dad, yeah.
Yeah, because I know Clay hasn't been playing since 1978.
Yeah, no. I think he should be. I mean, yeah.
Kevin Mawai.
No
way. Carl Mecklenburg.
Pretty dominant lineman.
Linebacker?
Mm-hmm.
Sam Mills.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah.
The other shoe-in, I think, that has to be a first-time, first ballot Hall of Famer on this list, in my opinion at least, is Ed Reed.
Yes.
Ed Reed should be in this year. Richard Seymour.
No.
Zach Thomas.
No.
Hines Ward.
No.
Darren Woodson.
Yeah, maybe.
So
those guys always get a bump when they're on TV too. So he does a lot of ESPN stuff. So.
That's true. They do. So not as stacked of a list, but still a pretty formidable list as far as.
And they're still going to take. They take like 5 to 7 or 6 to 8, something like that every year. So they're gonna. A lot of those guys that should be on there are eventually going to get on.
Yeah. So speaking of someone who's not going to get on and who is not going to get on a football field the rest of this season
or ever again,
or possibly ever again, Rueben Foster, arrested last night in Florida for domestic violence and battery charges with the same girl that he nope, Oscar, you have not missed it. The same girl who apparently he had a restraining order against, which means he's violated a restraining order by making contact with her. They are apparently, there was a lot leading up to it on social media. He was acting really weird on social media this week with her. Apparently it came to blows. He shoved her and open hand slapped her in the face, leaving a mark, which caused the call. And he was booked into jail last night. He's got a really nice mugshot in the County Oranges.
And I think he's being held without bail, too.
I believe so. So the 49ers did the right thing this morning and released Rueben Foster. Do you have any remorse, any sympathy, any feelings on this at all?
None whatsoever. We knew it was a they're taking a flyer on him when they drafted him. And I think we talked about this, that he's been a bad boy since he was in high school. I mean, he's been in and out of trouble with the law. He's not a good guy. So get rid of him. If you're gonna claim that you're trying to clean up the culture and keeping a guy like this around, then it's gonna fail. So they did about the only thing they could possibly do was get rid of him.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty considering the circumstances. Obviously, he was a player on our team who this year he wasn't really doing much, but it's Aldon Smith 2.0. He has the potential like none other.
Yep.
And he's got the mental, breakdown of a 12-year-old. So
because I think a 12-year-old is smarter than that.
Maybe.
So do you think anybody picks him up? Not this year, but do you think somebody down the road picks him up? I have one team that I think of.
The Bengals, the Raiders, or the Cowboys. Yeah. He was getting a second chance by the team staying with him, and he ruined it. It was a matter of time with him. Exactly. Yeah. Just like Aldon Smith. There's speculation around the Raiders that Derek Carr will be on the trade block come the offseason. One of the suitors that a lot of people are hearing rumblings on are the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've apparently internally discussed completely finding ways to cut ties with Blake Bortles, and it makes perfect sense for Gruden to try to get something else for Carr, and I can easily see that Jalen Ramsey trade that apparently Ramsey is on the block in Jacksonville. They're getting tired of his antics. They're ready for him to go. I could see the Raiders calling and saying, hey, we have a bunch of picks, and we have this guy named Derek Carr who you guys can bring in. We'll take Ramsey off your hands and a fifth or whatever it might be and make that happen. What do you think? I
like it. I think it's a good idea. I think, Gruden likes those kind of guys. He likes those guys that, hell, Foster could end up in Las Vegas too. I mean, Gruden's that type of guy that thinks he can straighten everybody out. I think that your idea of a couple of weeks ago that Carr's on the trading block now has gotten a whole lot of traction. So congratulations on that. Carr's gone, and there's another quarterback that's going to be gone too that we've talked about. Would be a perfect fit for the Raiders, and that's Flacco. Flacco for the second week in a row is not starting. I don't know if he's even active or not today.
I think Flacco would be the perfect quarterback for John Gruden's system. That's the type of guy he wants. Yep. So that's going to be one of those things where it's like there's going to be a lot going on. This Raiders offseason is going to be extremely busy because you're going to have all the talk about, okay, what do we do with our 55 picks?
Right.
What are they going to do about the players that aren't working out for Gruden? Is he going to have a short leash with a lot of people? Where are they going to play next season is going to be a lot of topic of conversation. Because right now it's like, do you play in Oakland again? Do you sign another one-year lease? Do they find a way to go play at Levi Stadium? Does San Diego come into the fold? Does that lawsuit against the Raiders get dropped or not make enough progress where they can pack up early and go play at UNLV or play at another place in Vegas early? Raider fans are going to be on, I hate to say it, they're going to be on suicide watch.
I was just thinking the same thing, yeah.
For the whole offseason because there's so much going on with that team. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's they made a lot of moves in essence to get ready for this offseason. So on the good side, there's going to be a lot of stuff that they can look forward to. Unfortunately, I think the bad stuff is going to far outweigh the good stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more negative coming out of that front office than there's going to be positive, unfortunately.
So, kind of get back to the Niners. We kind of skipped over this. Right now, you know what position they are to draft? Right.
First pick. That's because the Raiders decided to win a late game against Arizona and fuck that up for themselves.
I know, isn't it awesome? So now, what do you think they do with that? They don't need a quarterback. For me, for the first time ever, I think I've decided that if they do end up with the first pick, you need to trade it. You need to trade it and get yourself 2 or 3 more players. That the 49ers are a bad team. They're bad. They've had some injuries, yes, but their defense hasn't panned out like it was supposed to. Offense, it was. I think we all got kind of blinded by the Jimmy G thing, and yeah, we all got blinded by the Jimmy G thing that they played so well, but they're really lacking depth at wide receiver.
That'll be wide receiver. I believe is going to be something easy to address in free agency.
Their offensive line is aging. They got a couple of older veterans that are going to start phasing out. They've done all right. The defense has just been a train wreck.
McGlinchey's going to slide in perfectly for Staley if Staley decides to retire. So that was a great pick this year. Defensively, the linebacking core I think is okay. Even without Foster, the linebacking core is playing really well with Marsh and with Warren and those different guys. Or Warner, I'm sorry.
Yes, Warner was a big pick.
Cornerbacks, I think there's going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks that can be very, very good in the NFL. But I disagree with you on the trade. If you get the number 1 overall pick, the biggest issue that I think that the Niners defense has is the pass rush.
Yeah, but so yes, I agree with you, but I think that they're more than one defensive player away from making an impact.
And I agree with that, but if you can get pressure on the quarterback, which the Niners can't do, I think that your secondary plays better, your safety ball or play is better, your linebackers have a little bit more freedom. The problem is that with no pressure on the quarterback has forever to sit back there, and eventually even it doesn't matter if you're playing zone or man-to-man. Eventually, if a quarterback has time to dance around the pocket, scramble around, not have any pressure, wide receivers, tight ends, whatever, they're going to be able to get open because of that many moving parts and that much time. The defenses can't sustain blanket coverage for 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds when the quarterback's scrambling around. There's just too many variables. If you get a pass rush that forces a quarterback to make quick decisions and it throws it into your defensive scheme and not just playground football, I think this defense gets exponentially better. And if you're the number 1 overall pick, I don't think that you can pass up Nick Bosa coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Defensive linemen are deep this year in the draft.
But there's not a Bosa in the draft outside of Bosa.
Yeah, but I don't know. I agree with you on that sense, but I think they're more than just a Bosa away from being a good defense. I would rather trade that pick, drop down to somewhere right around 9th, 10th, because I think there's plenty of defensive linemen available. Hell, the whole, was it Clemson or one of those colleges, their whole defensive line is going to be top 10 picks. So there's plenty of picks out there. And bolster up with a couple of 2s. Now you're adding good quality players that you can stock up in positions instead of having 1. And I just think that right now they need the depth. They need a whole bunch of players to be good. And I'd love to have Bosa. I just don't think you make that pick. Low.
No, I'm thinking. I think, like I said, I think if you're the number 1 overall pick, you have to take Bosa. If you're 2, 3, unless you get a huge, huge haul for picks. One thing that would come to mind, I think that Shanahan would try to pursue would be another team whose defense is not playing good at all, and their offense is starting to taper down, and they have young pieces that can allow for a big piece to be expendable to get that defense back to where they are. And I can see the Niners and Shanahan especially with the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are going to be probably a top 10 pick because they're floundering big time. If you say move back to, let's say, 7, 8, 9, if you can get the 7th, a 2, maybe a next year's first or second and Julio Jones for the number 1 overall pick, I think you do that because then you add a big offensive weapon that allows Garoppolo to have some freedom, and you get that 7, 8, 9 that you talked about plus future picks. Bosa's got a little bit of injury history. He's missing this entire season because he didn't want to risk getting hurt again. So, you could do that. If I know you wouldn't like it, but let's say the Giants are sitting at 3 and the Giants want to move back into the number 1 overall pick. Maybe you see if you can steal Odell Beckham out of New York for that pick, and maybe that saves them a future first on the deal. But you get their 2, you get whatever their first round pick is, plus Beckham and maybe 2 other picks in the draft. Maybe second or third rounders. That gives them a little bit more financial freedom. The Niners are expected to have another $67 million in cap space next year, so they can bring on a guy like Beckham or Julio Jones.
I love Julio.
Help the offense and get picks and slide back a little bit. But it's going to be tough because unfortunately everything that we hear about with fucking John Gruden right now is, oh yeah, we pursued him, but we weren't aggressive enough. Oh, we didn't get Khalil Mack because we didn't want to give that second first-round pick. We tried, but we didn't get him. Oh, we tried on Amari Cooper, but we only offered a second. So they came in and offered a first. That's why Dallas gave up a first, because everyone else was only offering seconds. Oh, we tried to get Bruce Irvin when the Raiders released him. Oh, he went to Atlanta. Oh, sorry, we didn't try hard enough. Like, it always was that we tried, but we weren't aggressive enough. And that's what kind of worries me with Gruden is he going to be in a spot where he actually wants to be aggressive enough to make those things? He made a comment to the media after last week's game, or the week before, after the bye, or before the bye, and said, well, we're going to go ahead and address the pass rush in the draft and free agency. Well, no shit. Like, where else are you going to address it? How about you focus on being aggressive and trying to figure out how you're going to fix this team? Because right now, all the moves that you're making, you're following the bulky team ACL right now.
Yeah.
So you need to make calculated picks and aggressive things that are going to bring some life back into this franchise because everybody's down.
And if you look back at Gruden's history, he doesn't draft well.
Gruden, you mean Lynch? I'm talking Lynch. I'm not.
You were saying Gruden the whole time.
Was I?
Yeah, I think so.
I meant Lynch.
That's why. Yeah. If you're talking about Lynch, I'd give him a C right now on his picks. And I mean, he's drafted fairly well. I mean, he's missed on a couple of people, Rueben Foster, but for the most part, he's done all right. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. If you're talking about Lynch, then yes, he needs to be more aggressive.
You could get Julio or Beckham in here with Garoppolo. That would be fantastic.
And something like that helps everything on your offense because now they have to double Julio, and that's going to free everybody else up.
Because you still have Goodwin.
And you can't put 8 guys in the box, which they can now because there's nobody out there to catch the ball.
Right.
So that helps your running back.
Can you imagine how good Kittle would be with Goodwin and Julio or Beckham?
Shit.
That would be insane. But the other good news coming out of San Francisco, since we wanted to keep talking Niners, is Garoppolo is already off crutches.
Is he really?
And walking.
Good.
Jerick McKinnon's already running, or jogging, I should say. I don't think he's running yet. Mm-hmm. But these guys are only, 4 months? Garoppolo's only 2 months out of ACL, and McKinnon's 4, and they're already essentially a quarter and halfway back to football drills, which is remarkable.
So they'll be ready for next preseason, which will be great.
Right. But then let's keep talking Niners because apparently that's what we're doing. What about Le'Veon Bell? Do you make a run at Le'Veon Bell? Do you let Breida go and run an expensive Bell and McKinnon, or do you try to trade McKinnon off the knee, or what do you do?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that one yet. I don't know how you can pass up Bell, but how much longer does he have?
Well, he took a year off.
What's that say, Baroza?
Baroza, how does Julio make the whole offense better, but Bosa would not make the whole defense better? That was exactly what my question was.
No. I'm not saying that somebody like Bosa is not going to make the whole defense better. I'm saying you have more than one hole to fill on defense. So I'm saying I'd love to have both. I think he'd be a great addition. I think he would help the defense immensely. I just don't think I think you need more pieces than that. So I would rather trade down, pick up a couple of seconds and maybe another first, and use those to stack your defense instead of one player. So no, I'm not saying that it's not going to help the defense. It's definitely going to make it better. I just think there's more pieces that you need than anything else.
So on McKinnon, they signed him to a 3-year deal, but it's looking more and more like it's really a 2-year deal. There's actually an option at the 3rd year. And he only has of his base salary next season. I'm sorry, it's a 4-year deal. The 3rd year is the base salary.
Is it?
His base salary next year is only $3.7 million, with it's guaranteed for injury only, and then in the next year he only has a $2.6 million guarantee that both become eligible or fully verified or fully guaranteed on April 1st of each year. So really, if they go out and get a Le'Veon Bell, they could essentially just release McKinnon and not have a huge cut on that on the salary cap, which, like I mentioned earlier, they have $67 million to play with. So should be interesting. Let's do our picks real quick before we get to Kings talk. All right, so the standings as we sit right now, TJ Longacre is starting to build a little bit of a lead on James. He's at 110. James is currently sitting at 104. You're right on James' tail at 101. I'm coming up at 97, and then my mom is sitting at 70. You're within grasp for me to grab 3rd place. You're within grasp of James to take 2nd, but TJ's starting to run away with this thing.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to slow TJ down a little bit with some of these picks. You and James both took Detroit to beat Chicago this week. I'm guessing that's because Trubinsky wasn't playing.
That's exactly why that didn't pan out real well.
The other all three of us took Chicago. And then you, James, and TJ took Dallas. I took Washington, so did my mom, thinking that maybe Colt McCoy would have a breakout game or just the Cowboys would show up as normal. That didn't pan out for us. And then everybody on the board took at New Orleans to beat Atlanta. So that's how it stands after the Thanksgiving games. We'll jump into the rest of the week now. The Seattle Seahawks travel to the Carolina Panthers.
I'm taking the Panthers on this.
So am I. Panthers have been playing great football. The New York Giants travel to the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams are playing really bad.
I just changed my pick. So I'm going with the Giants. The Eagles secondary is beat up. The Eagles defense is beat up bad.
And Carson Wentz is coming off the worst game of his professional career, or his football career, so hopefully he'll have a bounce back game. The Raiders 2-8 travel to the Ravens.
I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm taking the Ravens as well. I have the Patriots over the Jets.
Yep.
The Browns go to the Bengals.
I think this is the first time I've ever taken the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns also. The 49ers travel to Tampa Bay.
With all the shit that's going on down there, I'm taking Tampa Bay.
I think the Niners rally behind their team and find a way to win, which I don't want necessarily because I want to keep that first pick maintained, but at the same time, I don't think Tampa Bay, going back to Jameis Winston again, has a snowball's chance in hell to win this game. The Jaguars, 3-7. Talk about surprise of the NFL. travels to Buffalo, who's 3-7.
I'm going Jags.
Can't trust Nathan Peterman to do anything.
No.
So I'm taking the Jags as well. The Cardinals travel to the Bolts.
I'm taking the Bolts.
I have the Chargers also. The Dolphins go to the Colts. Last week, we thought the Colts were going to get destroyed and ended up putting like 60 in the first quarter.
Right.
Ridiculous. So I'm taking the Colts on a hot streak.
Yeah, me too.
The Steelers travel to Mile High City to take on the Broncos.
I'm taking the Steelers.
I'm taking the Steelers also. Green Bay travels to Minnesota.
I got Green Bay.
This is insane because right now those teams are both vying for a possible wild card spot. If the Packers somehow win this game, both teams will be 5-5-1. How terrible is that? And the Monday Nighter, we have the Titans at the 7 wins in a row Houston Texans.
Tennessee Texans.
Yeah.
Houston, I'm taking Houston. I think they win 8 in a row.
So do I. So there's your picks. Let's see. Colts are on fire. Oscar says go Fruities. And TJ says Browns in an upset. Dark horse playoff team, the Colts. I agree. Dark horse. Good job. No pun intended, I'm sure. Let's talk Kings because this team continues to turn heads and surprise people, and I'm kind of torn on last night's game. Is it they lose by 1 to Golden State on the most ridiculous way possible? I've never seen a tip-in get stuck. Usually it's a shot of some sort that gets wedged between the backboard and the rim. Although if Bagley would have just grabbed it and tried to go back up instead of tipping it, maybe it'd be a different story. But I'm torn because this is a team that the Kings haven't played Golden State well in some time. This is a new team. Golden State's obviously not playing Golden State ball right now, but it was in Golden State or in Oakland. And the Kings, they held strong. I mean, even with the Warriors not playing well, they have to have a bounce-back game, and they always tend to have those games at home. So it was expected that they would have a good game. And the Kings played really well.
They did.
But is this a sign of Siri's texting James our transcript apparently. Is this a sign of good things for the Kings, or was this a sign of just meeting the Warriors at the right time and the Warriors not playing good basketball?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think that I think it was definitely the Kings playing well, and I think what makes me think that is their ability to not let the game get out of hand. They would be a couple of times they were up by 4 or 5, and then you turn around and it seemed like 30 seconds later they were down by 4. So they never let it get out of hand, and I think the Warriors can be a little intimidating about stuff like that. With that being said, the Warriors aren't playing like the Warriors at all right now. So I think it was – plus they were playing at home, which is going to give the Warriors a little bit of boost because that crowd is crazy. I think it was a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit of both. I think the Kings are definitely playing better. I think that if this game was played last year, they lost by 20. I think that I think it's part of a stepping stone and part of a learning process that they're going to have to go through. The end of that game wasn't good, but again, this time last year, the end of that game doesn't happen because they're down by 20.
Right, and it's giving us hope. It's showing us promise with these young guys. I mean, Fox had a good game. Buddy Hield continues to have really good games. Willie Cauley-Stein though disappeared, and Marvin Bagley shined. Bagley had 17 rebounds. I don't know how many points he had, but Bagley had a really good game. Willie Cauley-Stein only had 4 rebounds, and he disappeared. They're on a back-to-back. They play again tonight against Utah. At what point does Marvin Bagley start possibly jumping into the starting lineup if he continues to play the way he is, and Willie Cauley-Stein continues to falter a little bit? I know they're not playing the same position right now, but maybe you start him, and then when the backups start coming in, you go small and you shift Bagley over to the 5, and Willie starts losing minutes. I mean, what do you do at this point? Because
the problem with Willie Cauley-Stein is his inconsistency. So one game, one night he'll have a great night, have 17 points and 10 rebounds, and it seems like the next night he disappears. And which Willie Cauley-Stein are you going to get is always the question. So I can understand Jaeger's, I don't know, thought process of, well, let's hope that it's one of the good games. I like that idea, going small, especially later on in the game. Do you put Kufis in and sit Cauley-Stein?
I think Kufis is still out, right?
Is he?
He's still hurt. Here's my question: is what the hell? This is totally off topic because I don't think he needs to be playing. But where the fuck is Zach Randolph?
I was just thinking the same
thing. He's
not
even with the team. Like Ben McLemore was there in street clothes. Was he there?
Well, I don't know about last night. I know he was. I think when they went to the Florida trip, the last road trip they were on.
I didn't see him at home the last couple games.
Really?
Yeah, he hasn't been on the bench that I've seen. I mean, maybe they're just not showing him. But I mean, McLemore's in the huddles and he's there on the bench, even in street clothes. Is
McLemore hurt?
No, he's just not playing, and I just haven't seen.
He's been there. I've seen him. They've shown him a couple of times.
Oscar, I did not hear that. What did DeMarcus say to Willie Cauley-Stein after the game? Let's get that up on the screen.
Come on, Oscar. And speaking of DeMarcus, what are the Warriors going to do once he comes back?
You just got to work him in, I guess.
Are they going to? Do you think Draymond gets traded?
No, I don't think so. I think Draymond he says, "Go get that bread."
Oh, God.
So is Cauley-Stein going to get paid anywhere else?
I don't think so.
I think the only team dumb enough to pay him is the Kings.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that even if he plays at a level this year where he earns a bigger payday, right, or he earns a contract, I'm not convinced that his mindset and his me attitude that he has, his look at me attitude, he won't just disappear completely. Completely gone. Just, I got paid, I'm good now. And I'm just going to do the bare minimum. And that's what worries me.
I don't think he's going to get paid, though. I mean, like you said, who's going to pay him?
Willie Cauley-Stein to Charlotte.
I just don't. I mean, I guess somebody will, but I don't know. He's just.
Got to remember, man, Timofey Moskov got like $100 million or whatever it was. So anyone can get paid in this NBA.
I agree, Oscar. Oscar says he doesn't think Willie Cauley-Stein will be at the Kings next year.
I hope not. I mean, honestly, I really just don't like the guy. I don't think he's a
You've never
player.
really liked him.
No, I didn't like that we drafted him. I mean,
never really liked him.
He was high on the draft board, but the first couple times I watched him play, I'm like, this dude is fucking soft.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to get in there, and he doesn't want to battle. Kings are on a 3-game homestand right now. They have Utah tonight. They have the Clippers on Thursday, and then on New Year's Day they have the Pacers in town.
New Year's Day?
December 1st, they have the Pacers in town. What do you think as far as these next 3 games go?
I think they're all winnable. They're definitely all winnable.
No Donovan Mitchell tonight for the Jazz.
Right, and they've been playing horrible.
The Kings just smashed them just the other night.
Right, in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
119-110 with that game. And they were up by way more than that. It was just a late game collapse.
Yeah. I think that game's winnable. I think the Clippers game is definitely winnable. And then the Pacers, they always seem to have the Kings number. So
yeah. So for the record, I like Oscar says for the record, I like Willie Cauley-Stein. I like him when he's playing hard, and I like him when he's devoted and focused. But then the next game you see him and he's different. Kings will go 3-0 this week. I hope so.
Yeah.
They could use a nice little winning streak. That would be for sure. Because after those 3 games, they go back on the road. They're at Phoenix, which is winnable. They're at Cleveland, which is very winnable. And then they're at Indiana. So
I don't think that's a winnable game.
and then at Chicago. So over the next 3 at home, I can see him going 3-0. I can see him beating Phoenix, make it 4. I can also see him beating Cleveland, make it 5. If you're on a 5-game winning streak, and then again on a back-to-back, the Kings have the most back-to-backs in the NBA. On the second night of a back-to-back, can you see the Kings riding a hot streak and winning 6 in a row at Indiana?
No, I don't. And I wouldn't be surprised if they lost another game in there too.
Maybe at Cleveland.
Yeah, or even Phoenix.
Then they have, like I said, Chicago. Then they have Minnesota and Golden State at home. So after that, so a tough stretch, but very winnable games. Very, very easy to see promise. Hopefully, this team will stay together. And
I think just being around 500 all season is going to be a huge step for this team.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm happy with 500. So if they, they're going to win some games they shouldn't. They're going to lose some games that they shouldn't lose. And they're going to have collapses, and then they're going to, have games like last night. But I think eventually, a 500 record for this team is light years ahead of anywhere they've been in the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then maybe we can put the Fire Jaeger stories to bed.
I doubt it. I really, really wish that fucking Barn Bomb was on right now, because did you see his dumbass post last night?
No.
And it doesn't even fucking make sense. I'm not even going to try to find it. But basically he said the Oakland Athletics of the NBA versus the San Francisco Giants of the NBA are at Oracle Arena tonight for the dinner.
Well, you know how he wants to. He's trying to create comparisons of rivalries. But he missed badly.
The Oakland Athletics of the NBA and the San Francisco Giants of the NBA are playing regular season matchup 1 of 4 tonight. Tonight's game between the Sacramento Kings and Golden State Warriors at Oracle. Can the young Kings continue to shock the basketball world, much like the Athletics did in the baseball world, and get win number 11 this evening? Watch on NBC Sports. Blah, 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 blah. Very insulting post. Yeah. So he's basically calling the Kings the A's and the Giants the Warriors the Giants. I'm guessing because they're not playing well, or because they're going to be moving to San Francisco. But the Kings aren't in Oakland. Why the? I
think I kind of see it. I think what he's saying is
up and coming and starting to fade.
Yeah. So the Warriors are the Giants, well established, supposed long time, consistent winners, which they haven't been. And the Kings are the up and coming. We're going to surprise you. Look at the end of the year, and we're in the playoffs. You never thought that kind of thing. So I don't think that he's. I don't know. I guess TJ would be a little miffed that or people would be a little miffed that calling the Kings the A's, but it's just Mike.
It is just Mike. I don't understand Mike sometimes. Let's go ahead and do this real quick here, because he's at home, bummed up. Let me get a. Actually, let's do this one first. And also, we wanted to give a nice little drop to Mr. Albert Chavez, the Mortgage King. He gracefully stepped up and reinvested in Sports Talk 916, which is going to allow some new content and some new fun ideas to come to life.
Sponsor of the Mortgage King.
Yeah, the
hotline?
Mortgage King hotline or guest line for all of our interviews and guests. Albert, unfortunately, ruptured his Achilles tendon yesterday. He's going to be in surgery Wednesday, which means he's going to be a little less mortgage king, hopefully for not too long, but definitely if you're looking to buy a home or refinance a home, anything that involves lending and the mortgage process, definitely give him a phone call, 916-230-1537. He'll walk you through everything. I'm in the process right now of getting a new pre-approval. We're going to start looking for a new home, hopefully next week, with the help of this guy right here. And all of that is made possible because of Albert's due diligence and getting everything up front, knowing what we need, not waiting around for it. That way, when it does come time to close, everything already has a nice little bow on it. We just got to present it to the purchasers.
And it's fast.
Or the buyers, sellers.
Nice and fast. No messing around. Albert does a good job with that. I mean, he closes stuff quick.
Yep. So if you're looking to buy a house or refinance your house or find out about programs in order to possibly in the future buy a house, 916-230-1537. Albert Chavez is the guy you want to call.
And the good thing is he's going to be by his phone for quite a while because he's not going anywhere.
Right. He won't be out running Spartan races. He won't be out working out. He'll be near his phone or computer at all times. Lastly, before football starts, I mentioned it on Facebook, Sports Talk 916 After Hours. So basically what we're going to start doing is we're going to branch the podcast, not the Facebook Live side, but the podcast side out a little bit to where there is a little bit more off-the-cuff content, if you will. Interviews with, local business people, friends, family, whatever it is. If it's a random conversation that we're having and it turns out to be entertaining, maybe we'll record it. We're just going to do a lot of off-kiltered stuff to kind of bring some extra fun to the show. That's going to include a lot of the OCR stuff. It'll include a lot of anything else that maybe Greg wants to start covering when it comes to water polo or swimming, or it may be real estate talk. It may be anything that's going on. We'll get it taken care of and we'll get it up on the podcast. So if you're not already subscribed, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, I believe we're still on Google Play as well. Definitely check those out. And then we're also going to put the audio on our website at sportstalk916.com so you can listen to it there as well. So look forward to that coming out in the next, hopefully the next week or so. The first one's going to be Chunky Tyrone, Tyler Andre over at Absolute Flex Appeal. It's the gym we've talked about out in Roseville a few times. We're going to sit down with him because his business model and his gym model is second to none. And we're going to get some information on that and their new expansion. They're going from roughly 1,800 square feet facility to 7,600 square foot facility in January. So it's going to be huge. We're going to talk to him about that, kind of peel the curtain back a little bit on what to expect and go from there. So anything else? Any other sports stuff you want to talk about, Mr. Rosa?
No, I'm good. It's been a busy week and haven't had a whole lot of time to watch a lot of stuff. Listen. So.
Yep. So football's starting right now. If your team is playing on the East Coast, which both of ours are, no, where are the Raiders at? I don't know.
Raiders are in Baltimore.
Oh yeah. So both of our teams on the East Coast, which means they're starting now, and it's time to go watch it. Great game last night. Getting a lot of respect from many legit NBA players and coaches. The culture is definitely changing. Vegas, Ron, I agree 100%. The Kings culture is changing for sure, and it's starting to be fun to watch again. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. So for Greg Rosa, I am Greg Bowl. This was episode 262. We'll see you guys.